warmly welcome to LF session. That was a sneak peek of our AI assistant LF GPT, but you will be hearing more about him or her or that in a short while. For this session, we have a panel, of course, and I would like to introduce you all. So first, up on stage, Maria Lundberg, our very own CDO. And next on stage, Martin Björkman, a data scientist with a background in data analysis and psychology. And last but not least, Emma Persson, postdoctoral researcher in Blekinge Technical Institute. Welcome. And me, myself, and I, my name is Johansson, and I'm also from Länsförsäkringar. Of course. And I'm trying to help out so we could navigate through this session. Today's topics, the whole subject is unpacking the unique playfulness of AI innovation in finance and insurance. And today's topics, as you can see on the screen, are the uniqueness of insurance and AI, LFGPT, and AI chat and model integration. And we're going to save the questions session for the last part. So if you get to think about the question, please write it up or just memorize it. So we'll take it in the end of the session. Okay? Yes. Maria.
Yes, that's
why. That's you. The uniqueness of insurance and AI. Why is it important for Länsförsäkringar and the finance industry in all to think about this?
And I
AI?
need to start with that it is amazing to be here. So I want to talk to you in 8 minutes about being in this meeting you all girls, tech girls here, and spending the time with you. So this is amazing. So thank you for joining this session. My name is Maria, as Ann mentioned. I'm the CDO of Länsförsäkringar, the group, enhetschef, digital och IT. And I'm super happy to be working for Länsförsäkringar. We're here to tell you about what exciting things we're doing in the AI space. And I'm part of the management team for the group, and I can tell you that the management team is so excited about this journey that we have embarked on. And we've been spending a fair amount of time exploring where will AI and the journey take us, what is in front of us, and how can we actually get in acceleration mode, not only being curious and watching what is going on outside in the world. And we've learned a lot during the last, I would say, 6 or 12 to 6 months. I'm still learning. And what we have been working on is to understand how would AI and data and AI, I would say, impact the financial sector and the insurance and banking sector. And what we've learned is that in this industry, we find the greatest of potentials. In every bar, you see the Gantt schemes, you see where is the industry and the impact and the transformation, and where is the big hit, the big opportunity space. And the big opportunity space you find in banking and insurance. And who doesn't want to be in the space where there are great opportunities to drive change? And we are super excited about this. Why is it so great potential in the banking and insurance space? If you recall a banking and insurance, how many of you work in the banking and insurance? Yeah, you do, of course. You know all about this. We have data since 20 or 30 years ago. We have our industry is fairly industrialized and digitalized. We know we work very intense with both manual processes, but we also do analysis, risk management, claims. We have lots of manual and fairly long processes. This is how we actually produce our services. And in this space, in every area of our business, in the digital and IT, but also in the banking, in the life insurance, in the non-life insurance, and in Agria pet insurance space, and also in the local Länsförsäkringsbolagen. We meet the customers, and we see potential in the customer meeting. We see potential of bringing information that we have tons of information and instructions. We find it's so easy now to bring that very close to the customer without us being the proxy. And I can continue, but I only have 8 minutes for my session, so I need to move on. But if you catch me later on at the stand, we will talk more about this. So we see a great opportunity space here. And if you look at Länsförsäkringar, some of you might claim that we are not the market leader, but we claim that we are market leader in every domain that we operate. If you tell the banking, we are a niche bank player. And that comes with a lot of accountability. If you lead or work in a company that are market leader and you're owned by the clients, you have the trust by the clients to be peak performing, and you are a market leader, what do we do then? We need to make sure that we use and actually transform our business so we use all the potential there is. Because if you're a market leader, you have a lot to win, but you also have an awful lot to lose if you don't do this right. So we cannot afford to just watch this going on. And that is why we are so eager to actually not only improve our existing business, what do? We do transform the business. So we're super curious about finding the efficiency gains, finding the augmentation, but also be innovative and really look into what will happen in opportunity space when new business models will arise. New players will occur, new services will be present. And how can we imagine the future and make the future come present? So we tend to think that what do we feel is impossible today? And how can we imagine that be possible? And how can we then imagine it being real? So the impossible things possible and then real. And that is how we work now with the acceleration of AI in LF. And we are doing a lot. Is this transformation all about technology? No, it's not. We've learned that this is about passion to drive change. It's about humans in the center. And it's about driving successful change management. It's about courage. It's about staying curious. And it's also about leaning into new relationships, creating collaboration, leaning out to researchers, leaning out to schools and also faculties to understand what is going on. And this is a journey. You need to just enter this transformation with a journey. You cannot explain what's going on with the business case. You cannot be sure and find the right way. You need to push forward all the time and explore this domain. And we are here today to tell you a bit about how we're doing this journey and how playful we are experiencing the things we're doing right now, right here at LF.
Thank you so much, Maria. And I'm a little bit curious, how long has this journey been going on? How long has your journey been going on in Länsförsäkringar now?
I've been in Länsförsäkringar about 1 year, since the last January 1st.
Yes, yeah. And what have you been doing, like in learning, the last 2 months, for example?
In the learning space, yes. I've been in the US. I also spent time with researchers, with the capital market, in dialogue. Where are the capital is heading? Where are they invest right now? I've been also spending time with the faculties, trying to understand what does the research say, and also reaching out to so many people and partners to collaborate. What do you see in the future? And the greatest learning, I could talk another 80 minutes about this, but one thing that I've learned is that nobody has the answer. There is no, because when I went to this journey, I felt I'm going there, and when I come home, I will know for sure. And then I can set the direction, and then we can move on. That was not the case. I came home empty-handed in that space. But I felt that this is so relieving for me, that I understand now that the only thing this is the only safe space is to stay curious and actually accelerate the learning and drive and push forward. So that is my learning.
Thank you very much. And that's like the helicopter view, the whole branch, the whole industry, and Länsförsäkringar. And I wasn't even introducing Länsförsäkringar. That was kind of, I don't know if that's nice, but Länsförsäkringar is Sweden's biggest insurance company and one of the 5 biggest banks in Sweden by now, if you didn't know it already. But thank you very much for the helicopter view. And now it's actually time for this little guy or girl or whatever it is. Martin, I would like to hear a little bit more about what we're doing in Länsförsäkringar about this. And who is this actually?
Yeah, exactly. So you saw him earlier in the video as well. It's LFGPT, it's our own internal AI assistant. And yeah, I usually say that it's a guy because of all the mansplaining he does, Killgissa, which it's kind of good to remember that you can't trust everything that comes out of AI. You have to be like, check the facts and like, is this really correct? So could be good to remember. But yeah, we released this internal AI assistant in September 2023. So quite early, I would say. And basically what we did since, I mean, like you said, Maria, banking and insurance has like crazy potential for utilizing AI, but we are also highly regulated. And there's so many legislations that we have to take into account. And banking and insurance, and especially Länsförsäkringar, has quite a low risk appetite. So should we just embark directly on using ChatGPT and sending like confidential information into a cloud-based company in the US that we have no contracts and relationship with? Not really. So in 2023, we thought like, what can we do? Because we want like an internal AI assistant, sort of our own ChatGPT. And then like these models were released in Microsoft Azure, like a lot of you know, of course. So what we did was we built our own application, LFGPT, which then connects to the large language models that are present in Microsoft Azure. And since Microsoft Azure, or Microsoft luckily is a part owner of OpenAI, we have the same models there in Microsoft Azure as are used in ChatGPT. So that's really awesome. So what we could do then is that we could have full control of the information that we send into LFGPT. And since both the application and the models are hosted in Microsoft Azure, we're super safe using that and sending our confidential information in there. And we already had like the contracts in place, and we have a super long relationship with Microsoft. So that's like why we embarked on this journey with the LFGPT. And that really depends on your risk appetite, of course. But for us, it's important to be compliant and safe and fulfill every regulation that is applicable to us. But there's a story with a nice picture as well. So my boss prompted this picture of the robot here. It's quite cute. And just a few weeks before, I've talked to Nicholas Fernholm. He was at Karolinska helping out with their robots. So at the Karolinska Hospital, maybe you heard, they had like physical robots going around and taking care of the laundry and stuff. And they had quite a problem with that. The doctors and nurses thought the robots were in the way in the corridors. So they kicked the robot in the side, and then it got like a nod stop, like it stopped the robot. And so this was like a huge problem. So they thought, like, okay, what can we do? So they started like an internal Instagram campaign at Karolinska, and they also performed some stuff where the robots were dressed out as Santa Claus and delivered like toys to the sick children, and made an Instagram campaign about this. And that was basically like building relations to these robots. And after that, the node stop, they decreased like super much. And that's just building relationships with the robots. So what I thought was, because what we've heard at Länsförsäkringar, you know, of course in your companies as well, we have people that are in the absolute frontier, loving AI, and then we have those coworkers that are a little bit scared and skeptic. So why not transform AI into something cute as this guy here? So we work a lot with also telling good stories about AI, how coworkers are using LFGPT, how they're creating value in their everyday work, and actually sharing that in internal webinars at LF, just like spread the word to get everyone on board. But we also do like various other stuff. I'm from the data science team. So we have, of course, traditional AI, like machine learning models for marketing and fraud detection and other cool stuff within generative AI that you're going to talk more about, I know, Emma, later.
There's a shortening here saying RAG. What are we doing on RAG? What is that?
Yeah, exactly. It's something we're trying out. We did a pilot last year. RAG, most of you know this, of course, like retrieval augmented generation. So using generative AI, you augment, you enhance the generation by adding like internal information via smart search. So it's like augmented generation. So what we wanted to do, because the models that we're using that are available in Microsoft Azure, I mean, they're pre-trained. They're static. We're not going to train an own AI model. So if we want to include like our internal information, we do that via the application. And that's super efficient to use RAG technology, of course. So have the information vectorized in a vector database, do smart searches to pick out the right information and send that with your question, for example, into the large language models, which can generate an answer back. And we tried this out in a pilot like a year ago, and the results were really good. And what we found out then was like, okay, if we're going to do this for the whole Länsförsäkringar, like 12,000 people, I think I'm going to get like a lot of emails to me when stuff doesn't work and like, can you please add this document, etc. So we need to build like a super good self-service solution to upload your own documents which you want to communicate with via this RAG technology. And so the AI isn't the problem. It's more like, how do we build this self-service platform?
Mm-hmm. And I know Emma is going to talk a little bit more about this part, as you said, generative AI, yeah.
Yes.
But I would just want to put a hook on what Maria was saying. She said the leadership, the management are very positive about this and really in front of the train to drive the transformation. What are you actually doing in the company to drive? Are you? I hear your calendar is quite fully booked.
Yeah, exactly. I think my goal is to like get stuff in production and start creating value. That's why we get along so well, I think. So I mean, I used to do a lot of programming and the coding, but then you realize like the legal department comes and says like, oh, you haven't done this, or IT security is concerned. So now I'm more fighting with legal, IT security, getting stuff into production, understanding the business so that we're not being like a innovative hub somewhere in the company, but we're actually solving actual problems with AI as a tool. That's super important. And also the communication part to like, once we have a product that we have built in place, people should start using it because, I mean, shouldn't be just put in a drawer somewhere. It should be used and, start creating value. So that's really my goal.
Mm. And I know, Maria, we have actually a common goal in the whole of Länsförsäkringar about AI. I don't know if you want to mention that everybody...
Yeah, we measure, and we talked about this just before entering the stage, that we will, within shortly, we will start to show how each department or unit actually are using week by week. Just because we want to be a data-driven company, and if what's measured gets done, and we really want to make clear that this is something that you need to try. If you don't dare to try, you will not solve real problems. So we want to make sure that every week we see an increase of people in the organization finding their use case, finding their friend, get mates with this little 1.
Yeah.
So we will measure just to encourage everyone to just dare to try and be curious about this.
Yeah, it's very cool. Democratization, I don't know the English pronunciation, but that everybody actually are using it. Everybody are using this little fella. That's cool. Thank you very much, Martin. Now, let's go even deep dive into the techie side. Emma.
Yeah.
How have you been working with customer-facing generative AI?
Yeah, so I've been working in group data science together with Martin. As he mentioned, we've been working since 2023, at least, with generative AI for internal use. But we also saw that there were some use cases where we wanted to use generative AI externally, so like customer-facing generative AI. And we have been working in group data science on some projects around this area. For example, we've been looking at using generative AI for insurance claims, doing some work there. But the largest project that I've been working on personally is a customer-facing chatbot. You've probably all seen it, like a generative AI chatbot on the company website. So what we did is that we made a pilot with 2 of our regional Länsbolag in Skaraborg and Kalmar. So we made a chatbot which could answer just common user questions, basically using information that's already on our website. And doing this with the customer-facing part of it, it poses whole other like challenges than just using generative AI internally, as we need to have way better control over what it's doing. Like we can't have it give you wrong answers, and we can't have it answering questions that we have no business answering as an insurance company. So it's been a challenging journey, but we've ended up with a chatbot that's actually live on the website right now for these 2 regional offices, and it's up and running 24/7. But I'm going to tell you a bit more about the technology, right? Yeah. So what we've been doing and we have put a lot of effort in is our agent architecture in this solution. So we don't just have a single OpenAI or instance or LLM instance that's answering questions, but we have 4 different nodes, so to speak, or 4 different agents in this system. So when a user asks a question, we first get the question, then we have a node that's evaluating, like, is this something we should even answer? Or is this a hacking attempt, or is this something else that's out of our scope? And if that node determines that, yes, this is okay, we can move on, then we go to our next LLM agent, which determines, okay, which tools are appropriate to use to answer this question. So we have 2 different tools in our toolbox here. So one of them is web search. So we're using Bing, actually, to search on our own website. So we're like taking a lap around the block. But then we also have a graph database containing questions and answers for common user questions, and also some contact information. So as soon as we get the information that we need to respond to the question, we have another node with another LLM that's evaluating, like, is this information useful to answer this question, yes or no? And by incorporating this evaluator node into the architecture, we could see that we reduced the amount of hallucinations like drastically. So it was really key to get a chat agent that responded reasonably to questions. And then in the final node, we just generate the answer and send it to the user.
I've also learned that it's super important to be fast, but because you want to put in all these agents and you feel that this is smart and this is secure, and it make sure that we have high quality in the delivery and the experience. But I was struck about you being so eager. This is too slow. We need to speed this up. Can you just tell a bit about the challenge of being fast?
Yeah, because we're live, right? The user asks the questions and we want to respond as fast as we can. So we've been forced to sort of trade-off, like how many times do we want to double-check the answer to know that it's actually correct, and like how few times can we do it so that it's reasonable, so that we can give a response in a reasonable time frame. So that's been a challenge. Like we have, we've set up like an iteration so we can run this sort of loop multiple times, but we've had to, in the end, limit the amount of times that we can do it, just in terms of feasibility in the time frame.
What was the fail? Well, did you even have more agents or solutions from the beginning, or did you actually need to decrease the number of tools or agents to be able to get the solution fully complete?
We've tried a lot of different approaches to this. Like we've tried everything that we could possibly try. We've tried it all. We've tried different ways of, like, different constellations of these agent nodes. We've tried different amounts of them. We've given them different tasks. But in the end, we settled on this specific solution because it worked the best and it had the best time trade-off. Really, yeah.
And I think also like when there was like a new model released, when we changed which LLM we used, that also affects the prompts, how the prompts respond. I mean, the instructions we give, right?
Yeah, exactly. So when we started, we were using GPT 3.5, and we were struggling a lot getting it to actually do what we wanted it to. But then GPT 4.0 came along, and it just changed everything. Like all of a sudden, it just started doing what we asked it to. So that was definitely a milestone in the development of this. But it was also a takeaway that we could see that the prompts don't work like the same way in between models. So when we change the model, we'll have to change the prompts. And that's even true for different versions of the same model. So if we upgrade to a new version, we'll probably have to redo the prompts a bit.
Yeah, so that's like super interesting, I think, to learn.
Yeah.
Another question. I've heard that this is a customer-facing solution, but I've heard something.
That we're building it for internal use as well.
Yeah, I think everyone that serves in the client centers and the customer support, they are typically doing lots of prompting using the tool that we actually launched to be an outward-facing solution.
That's what I've heard.
So,
that it's really useful for our own.
So even if the client don't want to use the chat, the people that serves client, they are actually going outside.
Yeah, so the customer might call Länsförsäkringar, and the person that answers at Länsförsäkringar uses the customer chatbot to find information on our own webpage. That's the most efficient way.
Efficiency. And I heard, Emma, something about, we could always show some fails. Any fail I heard about?
Yeah, we had a major fail in the first week when we launched the pilot. We got a customer question about mortgage insurance rates. So they were asking, like, how can I get my insurance rates better? So then the chatbot responded with, the common stuff, like you can do this and you can look it up. And then in the end it said, oh, and you can also call the head of Länsförsäkringar Bank at this phone number.
Well, kind of a solution.
But it wasn't wrong. Like, it was true. The phone number was correct. It was actually on our website. So the takeaway from that, it must be like, check your sources.
Yeah, this finds everything on the webpage.
Yeah, we didn't know it was there.
Thank you very much, Emma. Now it's time. Do we have any questions in the audience? We have a lot. Just a second, I'm going to have a microphone here so everybody could hear your question. We start here.
So you were talking
Closer?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Is better?
Perfect.
You were talking about how you had to update the prompt when you switched models. Do you have to update the prompt if you stick to the same model? Do you still have to have a overwatch and change it, since I'm guessing the model is updating at all times and that you have to...
Well, in our application, we've sort of frozen the version of the model. So we don't really, like the prompts that we have right now, they're all set for now. But as soon as we want to upgrade the version, we'll have to look at the prompts again, just to make sure that they work as we intend them to.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Good for me, you get some steps running. Go.
So the statistics show that chatbots in general have a pretty low trust, the general consumer. So I was wondering, what has the response been, like the feedback that you guys have received regarding the chatbot?
I could just start by saying, like, we are very aware of this, or we have been very aware of this while building the chatbot. So we have tried, like, as far as we can to be very generous on handing the chat over to a real human. Like, so every time the chatbot doesn't know what to answer, or if the person asking the question seems annoyed, we make sure that we always offer the possibility to talk to a human, if it's within the human chat opening times. So we have made efforts to sort of alleviate that.
Yeah, and the amount of errands that the AI chatbot can handle is very high, so we're really satisfied with that. And of course, it says like now you're communicating with the AI bot, of course. But we didn't make like a huge thing about like Länsförsäkringar has launched this AI chatbot, come chat with it or something. So I think we were all like waiting for some reactions from the customers, like, okay, what's gonna happen? We're live. The customers, I mean, they get their errands solved, so they don't care. So we were a little bit disappointed, like, no one cares, we have an AI chatbot. But the response has been awesome, but very little. Like, it's a chatbot, it does its work. Yeah, everyone's happy.
Yeah. And we haven't gotten any reports of annoyed customer from the customer service.
No.
Well, and I think also, the acceleration, we don't do a wide launch and then waits for. We are stepwise offering this also to the Länsförsäkringsbolagen. So making sure that we can share experiences from the first pilots and feel that we are everybody to get the pulls, rather than to push it out. And when that happens, I think also everyone wants this to be good and wants to make sure that everybody's very, very excited and positive about
everyone
this.
Is happy.
Yeah.
And what was I gonna say? Yeah, like when I had a regular opening hours for the manual chat, they had a like overview of all the AI chats, so they were all supervised in case of it got out of hand, but it never did. So that's why the companies decided to launch this AI chatbot 24/7, because they really, really trust it. But in the beginning, we had this like overview all the time.
Yes, we have some questions. Let's start here.
Thank you. Thanks for the session, first of all. Sorry. You mentioned that part of your strategy is to increase the internal use of AI applications in different entities within the company. How do you ensure that that the employees are actually making the most out of it? Are you investing in some reskilling of the personnel, and what other actions have you taken on that? Thanks.
I think we are fairly much in the beginning, encouraging people to use it to start with, just to mainly in the safe space. We were talking also about the RAG solutions, making sure that we are launching solutions that are sort of everybody can feel safe to try, but you are not. You know for sure that we do not violate anything. I think one of the things that we've been working on, for instance, with this LFGPT, is that how do people understand how we can use this, and do we have an organization that is afraid of putting in documents, for instance, being very certain that we do inform that this is okay now. We can use everything that is not classified top secret, more or less. We have our own space. So I think we have been matching this launching and coaching the organization to use it, but also explaining that you are in a safe space. So the play space is also a safe space. But I think we have a lot more to do when it comes to also educating, because we have different type of skill sets, and this journey is not all about generative AI. This journey is a lot about the data management, the machine learning future, and I think maybe the largest of potentials might still reside in the machine learning and the traditional analytics space. But the wide use and the democratization of AI and the use for the many people in the organization could be a bit simpler solutions, or be experienced at more not so deep or narrow, deep solutions. But we do feel that in the generative AI space, we want to introduce solutions that are more safe space, play space, so we can actually accelerate the wide use.
Yeah, like huge, or like we have these studio webinars where we talk about the latest releases and functionalities in LFGPT and spread like use cases from average coworkers, like creating value in their own workspace and sharing like the prompts and how it created value for them. So I think that has been really good response. Actually, I think the Teams meeting have a limit of 1,000 live attendances, and that's not enough for us anymore. So that's it's a lot of engagement within the
the ordinary
employees.
user. You were in my management team just having the prompt school. How can we lead an organization, and how can we expect people to use LFGPT and be curious and lean into this if we don't feel safe ourselves? So just having the play, the hour where we will just play around with the prompt school and learn how do we put this right, so we get more value out of it, and how can we build the relationship with this guy, girl.
I was actually in a prompt camp the other week, also internal. I have time for one more question. Ooh, this is hard. One more question. Yay.
Hello, I have a question. I have never worked with a large language model. I've only used it by asking questions. So I have a question. What do you mean by updating prompts? And I think that was my question.
Yeah, maybe you should answer that, Emma.
Yeah, so when we want to use the large language models for specific purposes, as we want to do in, for example, the customer-facing chat, like we want to tell it, do exactly this and nothing else. So then we prompt it. So that's just text or instructions where we tell it what to do and what not to do, basically. And give some examples, maybe.
And also how to behave. You should be nice. You should have a good language. You should not be offensive. You should avoid going into this. You've learned me that is also what we tell. That is the prompting. This is how you should behave when you are serving a client.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a prompt. So when versions are updated, different versions or different models don't like understand the prompts the same way. So we've noticed a big difference on how different versions understand the instructions that we give them. So when we change, we just need to update the instructions, basically.
So basically, as I'm a user as well, not an engineer, prompt engineer, I think, for my understanding is that we have the client put some type of prompt in the interface, but we have behind the scenes prompts that do instruct. For instance, if it's 3 agents or 3 different type of agents that are actually creating the solution, we prompt them. Yeah, the customer prompt the question to the solution.
That's right.
Yeah. I got it.
Nice. Lovely. Okay, actually, time travels fast. We're already almost at the end of this session. To just shortly summarize what we've been talking about here, Maria, you spoke about the possibilities for Länsförsäkringar and the financial banking industry in general, and also how the management by our company are really, as you said, leaning into this, which is it's a way of doing it, the transformation. And Martin, you were talking about our little guy, we said guy, a she or a he, whatever, how we did it, why we did it, and how we do it, actually, and how we continue. And Emma, you put also a next level of how did we create this customer-facing chatbot and some small errors on the way. Thank you all so much. So just for your information, we have a booth or a stand that you could, all of you are going there for a while at least, aren't you? Yeah? So more questions to come. You could go there and get some answers of your questions. And these nice colleagues will also be there. And you will find it in the, not this, okay, never mind. Fifth floor, almost there. You will find the booth in the 5th floor. Look for Länsförsäkringar, you will find us. And now it's time for this one. We, in the booth or the stand, we also give you the chance to find or win actually a drink ticket for the after work if you don't have it in another way. And there was the booth. All right. There was the booth, 5th floor, in the next order. And if you are interested in working with us, I hope your interest, if it wasn't there already, it's even more there now. You're more than welcome to join us at Länsförsäkringar. And of course, follow us on Instagram. Well, last words. Thank you very much for joining this session and stay playing. Thank you, panel.